Dear student of the third years of Financial and Customs Department, this is a very important topic which we deal with today. The topic is Principle of Stabilization Policy, aggregate demand and output under different forms of government intervention in macroeconomic activities. This topic, which is Principles of Stabilization Policy, is related to the macro equilibrium of economic activities as a whole. Public budget and hence fiscal policy affect level of aggregate demand and its components. This means that government activities in economic affect both aggregate demand الطلب الكلي and its component ومكونات الطلب الكلي which is consumption, investment and so on. Changes in the level of aggregate demand affect the level of employment and of prices. مش بس التغيرات في الطلب الكلي هتتأثر، ولكن أيضا مستوى التوظف والأسعار هيتأثر مع التدخل الحكومي. Like it or not, the budget thus has important effect on the macro behavior of the economy and in turn become an important tool by which to affect the behavior. In Arabic means that الدور الحكومي من خلال الموازنة العامة للدولة له آثار هامة جدا على السلوك الاقتصادي الكلي، وبالتالي بتبقى الموازنة أداة هامة من خلالها يمكن التأثير على هذا السلوك. Moreover، علاوة على ذلك budget policy had and hence fiscal policy affects the division of total output between consumption and capital formation and thereby the total of economic growth. Also, budget policy and hence fiscal policy affect the components of total output and its distribution between consumption الاستهلاك and the capital formation التكوين الرأسمالي which is determined mainly by investment. This in turn affect the total of economic growth. وبيأثر هذا أيضا على النمو الاقتصادي. For further clarification, we use national income model to explain effects of fiscal policy and hence budget policy on macroeconomic variables as income, output, consumption, investment, prices and economic growth. عشان نفهم طبيعة الدور الحكومي وتأثير الموازنة على الاقتصاد الكلي هنستخدم نموذج تحديد الدخل القومي على النحو اللي هنشوفه. But we first start with an introduction to explain how this model is used before we explain the different government activity in economic activity. Income determination without government sectors. This is the first case we should explain, in which there is no government sector. This is a hypothetical case. In reality, government should be existed and has a vital role in economic activity. Let's start with this case for the purposes of clarification how this model work. بسمي this model also is named by multiple models with investment fixed. الحالة دي اللي هنتكلم عنها multiplier models، نماذج المضاعف مع افتراض ان الانفستمنت او الاستثمار ثابت. income determination without budget. How income determined without government budget، بدون تدخل حكومي. ازاي بنحدد الدخل بدون تدخل حكومي؟ This case is the simplest possible setting in which consumption is function of income while investment is given under a fixed level. In this case, we assumed that investment is constant, is given. Uh, Second, we now consider how the equilibrium level of income is determined by using figure 1 الشكل الجاي. Firstly, any figures has vertical axis and horizontal axis. In our figures, income is measured on the horizontal axis and expenditures is measured on the vertical axis. We also have CC function, which is consumption function. This function showing consumption expenditures to be rising function with the level of income. السي سي اللي هي دالة الاستهلاك، ودالة الاستهلاك بتأخذ شكل دالة متصاعدة مع مستوى الدخل. On the other hand, investment expenditure shown as II is assumed to be constant and independent of the level of the income. This is as a result of our primary assumption, which is investment is constant. By adding II, which is investment function, to CC, which is consumption function, vertically, we obtain the total expansion line represented by C plus I. يعني يا جماعة in Arabic لما بنضيف دالة الاستثمار أو خط الاستثمار أو الاستثمار للاستهلاك رأسيا، بجمع تجميع رأسي، بنحصل على دالة أو خط الإنفاق الكلي اللي هو ممثل بس. Let's move on the figure which we have. Vertical axis is represent expenditure, horizontal axis represent income. We have 45 line which represent income. Any point at this line is considered as equilibrium point. As we mentioned earlier, II represent constant investment, CC represent function, consumption function that has positive slope متصاعدة يا جماعة، نعملها موجب. Adding II to CC, we can obtain C plus I, which represent aggregate expenditure. The equilibrium, at the equilibrium point, C زائد I أو C plus I should equal income, should equal output, at which total أو aggregate expenditure equal total output أو income. This is occurred at point M. At point M, income equal OQ and aggregate demand OG. The point after M is considered this equilibrium point. At any point after M, income is greater than C plus I. This make us that economic policy may work to reduce income in order to regain the equilibrium. Before M, C plus I is lie above 45 line, and this means that expenditures is greater than income, and this requires that income increase to obtain equilibrium. يعني بمنتهى البساطة يا جماعة باللغة العربية كده بالعربي، عندنا التوازن M اللي هي الدخل الكلي او الدخل او الاوتبوت او الانفاق اوكي بيساوي الانفاق الكلي اللي هو او جي. النقطة اللي بعد اي نقطة بعد ام هيبقى فيها الدخل اكبر من الانفاق، يبقى انا هنا بيبقى في حالة عدم توازن، يعني الانفاق ما بيبقاش كافي لتغطية الدخل. في هذه الحالة المفروض يحصل ايه؟ المفروض نقلل الدخل حتى يتساوى مع الانفاق. اي نقطة قبل ام بيبقى فيها العكس، بيبقى خط الانفاق اللي هو سي بلس اي فوق خط الدخل، وبالتالي بيبقى الانفاق اعلى من الدخل، وطبعا هنا بيبقى الطلب ازيد من الدخل. ممكن في هذه الحالة نزود الدخل بحيث نستعيد التوازن عند النقطة ايه ام. تاني يا جماعة اي اللي هو خط الاستثمار، وهفترض في النموذج بتاعي ان خط الاستثمار هو ثابت، بياخد خط افقي بيقطع المحور الرأسي موازي للمحور الايه الافقي، ودالة الاستهلاك سي، وباي ادنج جمع الاي اي والسي سي بحصل على الاجريجيت ديماند. والتوازن مرة تانية عند النقطة ام حيث السي بلس اي ايكوال الانكم represented by ال 45 line. Equilibrium income is determined where the income received in any one period give rise to expenditure of an equal amount, which in turn the income of the following period. Thus, equilibrium income is shown in the diagram where the total equilibrium line C plus I intersect the 45 line along with expenditure equal income. The point of intersection, which is considered equilibrium point M, at which equilibrium income level being OK with expenditure equal to OG and OK equal OG. At equilibrium income OK, consumption equals Kn and the saving or income, thus consumption equal Nm. The latter is turn equals investment. The difference between التوتال aggregate demand اللي هو الطلب الكلي والاستهلاك represent saving. Saving should be equal to investment in order the equilibrium realized. In equilibrium, expenditure must equal income so that saving must be offset or matched by investing spending. معنى كده يا جماعة في التوازن مش بس الاكسبنشر بيساوي الانكم، لا ده ايضا السيفنج should be offset or matched by investment spending. If the level of output and thus of the income should exceed the level OK, total expenditure will be insufficient to purchase the level of output. زي ما احنا قلنا line C plus I lies below the 45 line and the output and income will be reduced to. If on the other hand the level of output or income should be below OK, total expenditure will exceed the level of current output, that is C plus I، بمعنى ان C plus I زي ما احنا قلنا قبل كده lies بيقع فوق خط 45 45 line. With that the output and income will be increased to OK. طيب. These models also can be expressed in mathematical form. The models have three equations. The first equation is y equals C plus I, where y is income, C. Consumption. I. Investment. The second equation of this models is consumption function. Consumption function is C equal A plus CY, where C consumption, A constant which represent intercept, and C represent marginal propensity to consume الميل الحدي للاستهلاك. Y income. C represent the slope of consumption function. The third function is Y income equal 1 over I minus C all multiplied by A زائد I. Equation 1. Again, equation 1 show total income should be equal the sum of consumption and investment, while equation 2 defines the consumption function. Consumption function, as previously said, has two constant terms. The term A is intercept of the CC line, figure 1, with the vertical axis, while the marginal propensity to consume, which is represented by C, gives its slope or tan B. The system is summarized in equation 3, where equilibrium income is obtained by substituting equation 2 into equation 1. يعني يا جماعة معناها ان النتيجة النهائية للنموذج ان احنا قدرنا نحصل على الدخل من خلال تعويض المعادلة 2 في المعادلة 1. Another important point we should know, which is the fraction of 1 over 1 minus C is called multipliers, and the sum of constant A زائد I is the multiplicand. معنى ايه الكلام ده يا جماعة؟ يعني المقدار 1 على 1 ناقص C بقول عليه هو الملتبلاير او ما يسمى بالمضاعف، والمقدار A بلس بلس I اللي هو الاستهلاك الثابت زائد الاصفار الثابت بيسمى المالتيبليكاند اللي هو المضروب. مضروب يعني ايه؟ يعني المقدار المضروب في المضاعف. For clarification we examine these examples. If C is 0.8, the multiplier is 5. دي يا جماعة is 5 لأن هيبقى الملتبلاير هيساوي 1 over 1 minus 0.8 يبقى 1 over 0.2 equals 5, and with A equal $50 billion and I equal $100 billion, income would be equal to $750 million. لما هعوض يا جماعة في عن قيمة A ب50 و I ب100 واوريدي انا عندي المضاعف طلعته 5، هتكون النتيجة ان الدخل الانكم equals $750 billion. Returning to figure 1, we see that the resulting equilibrium income OK may be such that at prevailing prices a full employment output in is produced, but this need not to be the case. معنى ايه الكلام ده يا جماعة؟ معناه ان لو رجعنا للشكل واحد هنقدر نشوف ان الدخل التوازني الناتج اللي هو اوكي ممكن يكون هو السائد عند مستوى الأسعار في ظل دخل التوظف الكامل. ولكن ده مش شرط ان تكون الحاجة اللي احنا ايه، الحاجة الضرورية اللي عايزاها. Suppose instead that full employment income equals OF if the amount of saving RV which is people wish to undertake at this level of income exceeds the given level of planned investment RG, income must fall until saving is reduced to RG. يعني يا جماعة برضو لكي استعيد التوازن ممكن من خلال آلية الاستثمار والادخار. عشان استعيد التوازن في هذه الحالة ممكن الادخار يقل حتى يصل للمستوى RG اللي هو بيساوي الاستثمار. Income thus return to its equilibrium level. Okay, there is no automatic mechanism in this system which ensures that full employment income is reached and maintained. هنا يا جماعة ما عنديش زي المدرسة الكلاسيكية آلية أوتوماتيكية بتشغل الكلام، إنما زي ما هنشوف إن الكلام ده ممكن يتحقق استعادة التوازن لو أنا عندي فجوة بين الأجريجيت ديماند والاجريد اكسبنشر. في الحالة دي الاجريجيت ديماند والاوتبوت في الحالة دي ممكن من خلال البوليسيز، وهنشوف how fiscal policy can realize this target. The first case we have is allowing for government expansion. نسمح بتدخل حكومي في شكل انفاق حكومي. In this case, we first add government purchase G to our system. In this case, total expenditure line becomes C plus I plus G. It is shifting upward as a result of government expenditure. Unlike the first case in which the government is absent, the total expansion lines with only C plus I. Introduction of government expenditure thus raise output from OA to OB. An increase in government expenditure by raising the total expansion lines may thus be used to move it there, which is also shown in equation 4 to 7. في الحالة دي يا جماعة ان احنا الانفاق الحكومي زود الانفاق الكلي اصبح C plus 1 plus G and hence leads to increase in output from OA to OB. يعني زود الانفاق الكلي وفي نفس الوقت زود الناتج والدخل في نفس الوقت. If income is below the level required for full employment, government expenditure may be used to move it there. Under this mechanism, government may use government expenditures to raise the income level to be equivalent to that is required for full employment. يعني ممكن الحكومة بتستخدم الانفاق الحكومي لتحقيق الموازنة، التوازن يا جماعة ان الدخل يبقى مساوي للدخل عند مستوى التوظف الكامل. Let's explain the equation of this system. We have four equations, 4, 5, 6, 7. Equation 4 represent expenditure equals C plus 1 plus G. لاحظ ان Y هنا هي capital letter، Y الانكم بتبقى small letter. Y equals C plus 1 plus G. الانفاق الكلي بيساوي الانفاق الاستهلاكي زائد الانفاق الاستثماري زائد الانفاق الحكومي. The second equation which is consumption function is consumption equal A plus CY. small c denote marginal propensity to consume، الميل الحادي للاستهلاك. marginal propensity to consume represent an increase in consumption as a result in increase in income by a specific amount. The third equation which determine income can be calculated by multiplier by what is called multiplicand. 1 over 1c ده المالتبلاير المضاعف. a زائد 1 زائد g اللي هو المالتيبيكانت اللي هو بنقول عليه المضروب. يبقى ال y equals المضاعف في المضروب. المالتيبيكانت includes a autonomous consumption plus I fixed investment plus G government expenditure. A زائد Y زائد 1 أو A and Y and G and A and I and G are constant. As a result, equation 7 represent a change in income as a result a change in initial government spending. So delta y equal 1 over 1 minus c, which is multiplier multiplied by delta g. The higher the multiplier, the higher increase in income. معنى المعادلة يا جماعة 7 ان التغير في الدخل نتيجة لزيادة مبدئية في الانفاق الحكومي هيساوي المضاعف بيساوي 1 على 1 ناقص سي، حيث 1 ناقص سي represent الميل الحادي للادخار، سي represent الميل الحادي للاستهلاك، دلتا جي represent التغير في الجفرنمنت spending. يعني بمنتهى البساطة يا جماعة التغير في الدخل can be obtained by multiplying change in government في by multiplier. Let's move on to figure 2, which show graphically the previous system. These figures show that vertical axis represent expenditure, horizontal axis represent income. We have 45-degree lines which represent income, and any point on it represent equilibrium point. II represent investment line which is constant. GG represent government line which also is constant. C represent consumption function دالة الاستهلاك. Its slope is the marginal propensity of consume. C plus I اللي هو consumption plus investment represent total expenditure if there is no government activity at all. In case of government activity in the form of government expenditure, public total expenditure increase and shifting upwards to become C plus I plus G, where the vertical distance between C plus I and the C plus I the G represent government expenditure. Under government activity, in this case, equilibrium point is higher than its counterpart. Under the case there is no public spending at all. In this case, public income increase from OA to OB. Equation 7 obtained by putting equation 6 in difference form shows in the resulting increase of the income. يعني يا جماعة المعادلة 7 حصلنا عليها من تفاضل المعادلة 6. Suppose the marginal propensity of consume, which is C, small c, equals 0.8. An increase in G of 1 billion dollars raises equilibrium income by 5 billion dollars. This as a result of the multiplier. Multiplier in this case equals 5 by dividing 1 over 1 minus 0.8 equal 5, and then multipliers is multiplied by initial increase in public expenditure to obtain the final increase in income or output. This increase will be larger the greater the multiplier. يعني يا جماعة as multiplier increase, the increase in income also increase. The same holds but with reverse sign for a decrease in government purchase. نفس الآلية احنا ممكن نحصل عليها في حالة انخفاض الانفاق الحكومي. In this case income decreased by amount equivalent to multiplier multiplied by initial decrease in public expenditure. Now we move on to the second case, which is allowing for lump sum taxes. In this case, government intervene in economic activity by imposing lump sum tax. Lump sum tax represent a tax of fixed amount independent of income. يعني يا جماعة بالعربي كده معناه ان الحكومة هنا هتتدخل بفرض ما يسمى ضريبة ذات مبلغ ثابت مستقل عن الدخل. When government imposed this type of tax, some changes occurred in income, aggregate demand, and consumption. Consumption decrease, and hence total aggregate demand also decrease. Let's explain that by using the following explain income determination with fixed tax revenue, which is lump sum tax. Vertical axis represents expenditure, horizontal axis represents income. We have 45-degree line, which is income line, and any point on which represent equilibrium point. Before imposition tax, we have II represent investment line. In this case, we assume that investment is constant, doesn't affect by income or any procedures at all. After imposing tax, the consumption function represented by increasing line CC, and a total aggregate demand represented by increasing line C plus I. The difference between C plus I and C represent investment, which is measured by vertical distance between the two lines. Now we consider the case after government decide to impose some lump tax. In this case, II doesn't affect at all, but consumption function affect. In this case, consumption function move down from CC to C star, C star. The vertical distance between the two lines is decrease in consumption as a result of imposing of lump sum tax. Accordingly, total expenditures also decrease from C plus 1 to C star plus 1. The difference between The two lines represent consumption also. As a result, the imposition of tax leads to decrease in total income or output from OA to OB, from OA to OB. The difference between OA and OB represent decrease in consumption, decrease in output, multiplied decrease in expenditure, multiplied by multiply. In the case with mathematical explanation, in this case we have four equations of system with lump sum tax. Equation number 8, 9, 10 and 11. The first equation represents income before imposition tax. Under this case, income which represented by y equals C plus I. معناه يا جماعة ان الدخل بيساوي الاستهلاك زائد الاستثمار. After imposition the tax, بعد فرض الضريبة, consumption will be equal A plus C multiplied by Y minus T, where A autonomous consumption, الاستهلاك الثابت الذي لا يتأثر بتغير الدخل. C represent marginal propensity to consume, الميل الحدي للاستهلاك. As we previously said, marginal propensity to consume can be defined as a change in consumption as a result of a change in income by a specific amount. Y minus T, Y income, T tax, Y minus T equals what is called disposable income. So the total is C consumption equal autonomous consumption اللي هي ايه زائد الميل الحدي للاستهلاك ناقص مضروبا في الديسبوسبل انكم او الدخل القابل للتصرف. هنعمل substitution للاستهلاك في دالة الاستهلاك consumption function in دالة الطلب الكلي y resulting the third equation which is y equal 1 over 1 minus C multiplied by A plus I minus CT. The amount 1 over 1 minus C refers to multipliers. Multipliers is multiplied by what is called multiplicand. Multiplicand equals in this case A plus I minus CT. هنعمل differentiation للفانكشن 10 نعمل تفاضل للدالة 10 وكان we can obtain delta y التغير في الداخل equal C by 1 minus C multiplied by delta t. يعني يا جماعة الأثر النهائي إن الدخل هيتغير بمقدار يساوي المالتبلاير مضروبا في التغير في الضريبة مضروبا في التغير الضريبي. يعني يا جماعة الانيشال decrease in tax leads to final decrease in income by the amount of C over 1 minus C multiplied by WT. Remind that multiplicand in this case is decreased by CT and multiplier remains constant. Taxes affect only on multiplicand. Unlike the case in which there is no government intervention at all, multiplicand decreased in the case in which government intervene in the form of lump sum tax. Another type of government intervene which is role of transfers. Role of transfer. Transfers mean in Arabic يا جماعة مصروفات تحويلية مش مصروفات حقيقية زي government purchases. Transfer payment as a distinct form from government purchase may be viewed as negative tax for purposes of this analysis. يعني يا جماعة ان المدفوعات التحويلية هي تتميز عن الانفاق الحكومي في شكل مشتريات، وممكن ان ينظر لها باعتبارها نيجاتيف تاكس، ضريبة سلبية لغرض هذا التحليل. ويا جماعة the most common type of role of transfers is subsidies and pensions، الإعانات والمعاش. Thus transfer payment denoted R may be substitutes for T in equation 11 but with the sign reversed showing an increase in R to be expansionary. في الحالة دي يا جماعة احنا ممكن نستبدل R اللي هي الترانسفير بيمنت محل التي اللي هي اللمب سم تاكس في المعادلة 11، ولكن الإشارة هتتغير لأن ال R has expansionary effect unlike tax which is contractionary effect. So transfer payment leads to increase in total income. However, the resulting change in income is again less than that for increase in G. ولكن bear in your mind، حط في اعتبارك ان التغير الناتج من الزيادة في المدفوعات التحويلية بيبقى اقل من الزيادة في الانفاق العادي اللي هو المشتريات الحكومية. ليه؟ why؟ This can be explained by the reason once more is that part increase in disposable income due to transfer payment will be reflected in increased saving rather than in increased consumption expenditure. واضح يا جماعة ان النقطة ان في حالة الانفاق الحكومي كل الزيادة بتوجه للاستهلاك، انما في حالة المدفوعات التحويلية الترانسفير بيمنت a part of this amount is can be saved and the rest is directed to consumption. Let's now move on to another case, which is system with income tax. In this case we introduce income tax instead of lump sum tax. Lump sum tax was independent of income, but income tax is a function of income. Now we turn to the more realistic case where revenue obtained from an income tax rather than a lump sum tax. Introduction of income tax doesn't shift the consumption function in a parallel fashion as occurred with lump tax, but causes it to swivel downward along its point of intercept. This means in Arabic in لما هندخل ضرائب الدخل في التحليل بدل من اللمب سم تاكس دالة الاستهلاك هتتنقل، ولكن مش بشكل موازي لوضعها قبل فرض الضريبة في حالة اللمب سم تاكس. لا، النقل هنا في هذه الحالة هيبقى في شكل استدارة لأسفل لمنحنى دالة الطلب. طيب this is because the reason behind that the tax equal the horizontal distance between CC, which is consumption function before tax, and C star, which is consumption function after imposing income tax. CC also increase with income. As income increase, income tax revenue increases. As a result, the slope of consumption function rather than its intercept is reduced. في حالة يا جماعة ضريبة الدخل اللي بيتغير مش الانترسبت، لا يا جماعة اللي بيتغير الميل بتاع الدالة، دالة الاستهلاك. Suppose that government decide to increase income tax. This is expansionary action, calls for reduction tax, which is shown in figure 4. In figure 4, CC is the consumption function before, and C star is the production function after tax reduction, with income rising from OP to OF. نتيجة تقرير ضريبة الدخل هيتنقل من الاستهلاك لأعلى، وبالتالي هيزيد الدخل من OP to OF. Let's explain with the graph. Our graph is show tax reduction with income tax. The vertical axis represents expenditure, the horizontal axis represents income. Let's explain the situation before imposing tax. The situation before imposing tax, we have equilibrium point at which income equal OB. This point denote with D. At this point, CIG, which is consumption, investment, government, equal income, total output, aggregate expenditure equal aggregate demand. Note that our analysis here take into consideration a type of government intervention in the shape of government expenditures. Suppose that government decide to decrease income tax. In this case, the aggregate demand increase as a result of increase of consumption function swivel and move to CC star, and hence total expenditure also swivels and moves up to C star I plus G. As a result, the total income increase from OB to B to OF increase equal delta Y. Delta Y represented by the horizontal distance BF. Let's explain the state with equation. Mathematically, we have two cases: equation of system with income tax and equation with government purchase and income tax. الحالة الأولى يا جماعة هنتكلم عن النظام في ظل ضريبة دخل بس. government intervene only by imposing income tax, and there is no public spending or public expansion. We have three equation, 12, 13, 14. The first equation represents the total expenditure, which equals C plus I. C denotes consumption, I denotes investment. Consumption function under this case represented by this form of equation 13, C equal A plus C O minus T multiplied by Y, where C consumption, A autonomous consumption اللي هو الاستهلاك التلقائي الذي لا يتأثر بالدخل، plus C multiplied 1 minus T, which represent a marginal propensity to consume, and Y represent disposable income. هنعمل زي substitution للfunction في into function of income. This result equation number 14, equation number 15 income y equal 1 over 1 minus c multiplied by 1 minus t. كل ده مضروب في a plus I. Denote that under income tax, the marginal propensity consumed is less than its counterpart in the previous cases, which is lump sum tax and public spendings, as we previously mentioned. Marginal propensity of consumed in equation 14 is multiplied a plus 1, where a plus 1 called multiplicand. The second state we have equation with government purchase and the income tax. Under this state, government intervenes by two forms of activity, which is government purchases, government spending, and income tax. Accordingly, expenditure function can be presented by y equal c plus I plus g. الطلب الكلي هنا يا جماعة من 3 حاجات: consumption, investment, and government spending. Equation 16 represents consumption. Under this case, consumption equals a plus c multiplied by 1 minus t. كل ده مضروب في y, where y disposable income, c multiplied by 1 minus t represent marginal propensity to consume. هنعمل substitution للفانكشن بتاع الاستهلاك into total expenditure function, resulting equation 17, where y income, disposable income, equal 1 over 1 minus c في 1 minus t. كل ده multiplied by a plus I زائد g. In this case, the marginal propensity of consume is less than its counterpart of the previous cases, which are lump sum taxes and spending expenditure only. A plus I plus g represent multiplicand. As a result, we can differentiate this function number 17, and hence we can obtain a change in income, الدخل في التغير في الدخل. delta y equal 1 over 1 minus c plus 1 minus t. كل ده مضروب في الدلتا جي. يعني يا جماعة الدالة 18 حصلنا عليها بتفاضل الدالة y، وبعد كده وصلنا للتغير في الدخل. التغير في الدخل يا جماعة change in income mainly can be obtained by multiplying marginal propensity of consume, which is 1 over 1 minus c plus 1 minus t في delta g, and we can conclude that a change in delta g leads to a greater change into delta y. The change depends mainly on the value of multiplier. The process is shown in equation 12 through 18, which we previously explained. As income increase, so does tax revenue, thus depressing this visible income and C, and hence the overall expansionary effects of an increase in G. يعني يا جماعة لو احنا في الحالة الثانية اللي هي في income tax and public expenditure، لو if government decide to increase income tax، يبقى هنا expansionary effect decrease as a result of increasing income tax. Let's explain the previous case with numerical examples. FC, which is marginal propensity to consume, equals 0.8. Tax rate T equals 0.3. This reduces the multipliers from 5 to 20.77. As shown in equation 18, increasing G by $1 billion now raises Y by only $2.27 billion. The built-in response of tax yield in thus depends on effectiveness of an expenditure increase. Another and one of the most important case of government intervention is what is called balanced budget increase. Balanced budget increase means الميزانية المتوازنة. Under these cases we an increase in expenditure as explanatory while a tax increases is restrictive. Government under this option increase both both expenditures and tax with the same amount. Increase in expenditure is expansionary and increase in tax is restrictive. يعني يا جماعة في ظل الميزانية المتوازنة الحكومة بتزود الانفاق بمقدار معين وبتموله بزيادة الضرائب بنفس القدر، فلذلك بقول عليه balanced budget. We must now consider a balanced budget change such that delta G equal delta 2. يعني يا جماعة تاني البالانسد budget increase under this policy تغير في الانفاق الحكومي هيساوي التغير في الضريبة. In this case the gain in income equals الزيادة في الانكم هتساوي 1 over 1 minus C مضروبة في دلتا G where 1 over 1 minus C المارجن propensity to consume دلتا G التغير في الانفاق. ده with regard to the effect of increase spending, public spending. This is expansionary effect of increased government purchases. On the other hand, increasing of tax also has restrictive effect which equal minus C over 1 minus C كل ده multiplied by delta T, the restrictive effect of delta 2. لذلك the combined effect، الcombined effect هنا يا جماعة الأثر الموحد لزيادة الإنفاق العام اللي هو ال1 اللي هو leads to increase in income by 1 over 1 minus C multiplied by delta G، والأثر الموحد لزيادة الضرائب اللي هو تخفيض الدخل بمقدار minus C over 1 minus C plus دلتا T. هجمع الأثرين النتيجة يعني هيبقى 1 over 1 minus C multiplied by delta G minus delta C minus C over 1 minus C كل ده مضروب في دلتا T. الأثر النهائي دلتا G. يعني يا جماعة under balanced budget the increase in income and the increase in spending and tax with the same amount leads only to increase in income by the amount of increase in public expenditure. يعني يا جماعة سياسة الميزانية المتوازنة في الآخر بتؤدي إلى زيادة الدخل بنفس قدر زيادة الانفاق الحكومي فقط. هذا يعني ان expansionary effects of public expenditure was stronger than the restrictive effect of tax. معنى هذا ان الاثر التوسعي للزيادة في الانفاق الحكومي كانت اكبر من الاثر الانكماشي لزيادة الضريبة. The level of income thus rises by just the increase in government purchases and the called balanced budget multiplier may be said to equal 1. يبقى يا جماعة we have a very important result which is under balanced budget increase. We have multiplier equals to 1 equals to 1. المالتبلاير في بتاع الميزانية المتوازنة balanced budget multipliers equal 1. We conclude that balanced increase in the level of budget operation has an expansionary effect. The last case we have is considering stabilization in the open economy. In an open economy, we have foreign trade sector. Under this case, the effectiveness of fiscal policy is reduced substantially by the existence of trade leakage. In this condition, we should differentiate between two cases: fixed exchange rates and flexible exchange rates. ان عربي يا جماعة، في ظل الاقتصاد المفتوح الاحوال اللي فاتت ما كانش في قطاع تجارة خارجية، هنا هيبقى عندي قطاع تجارة خارجية. في ظل قطاع التجارة الخارجية التسربات الليكج في الانكم بتزيد، وبالتالي الافكتفنس اوف فيزيكال بوليسي، فعالية السياسة المالية substantially reduced. We have two cases we should differentiate between them: stabilization in open economy under fixed exchange rates and stabilization in the open economy under flexible exchange rates. هنبحث يا جماعة التأثير في حالتين: حالة سعر صرف ثابت وحالة وجود أسعار للصرف مرنة. Let's start with the first case, which is stabilization in open economy under fixed exchange rates. Under a system of fixed exchange rate, expansionary measures by raising income lead to increased imports. This increased import divert purchases from domestic to foreign products, thus adding another leakages from the income spending stream to that provided by domestic saving, and thereby reducing the expansionary effect. يعني يا جماعة في ظل سعر الصرف لو في ظل ثبات سعر الصرف الإجراءات التوسعية من خلال رفع الدخل بتؤدي إلى زيادة الواردات، ولما الواردات تزيد ده معناه إيه؟ معناه إن جزء من المشتريات هيتحول من شراء المنتجات المحلية لمنتجات أجنبية، والنتيجة إن يحصل تسرب من الدخل أو من تيار الإنفاق، وده هيأثر على فعالية السياسة. Suppose that E is export and M is import, and M small expenditure on imported consumer goods as a fraction of consumption expenditure. C small is again marginal propensity to consume. هنفترض يا جماعة عندي E اللي هي الاكسبورت الصادرات، وام الامبورت، وام سمول اللي هو الانفاق على السلع الاستهلاكية المستوردة كنسبة من الانفاق الاستهلاكي، وسي سمول اللي هي الميل الحدي للاستهلاك. ولنفترض letting consumption C include expenditures on imports as well as on domestically produced goods and services. We may restate the model underlying equation 14 to 18 15 to 18. يعني يا جماعة هنفترض ان دالة الاستهلاك سي بتشمل الانفاق على الواردات وكذلك الانفاق على السلع المنتجة محليا، السلع والخدمات المنتجة محليا. هنعيد صياغة النموذج بالايكويجن من 19 ل 23. Equation 19 express public total أو aggregate expenditure Y equal C consumption plus I investment G government expenditure plus E minus M, where E, as we previously said, is export, M is import. The second equation, which is number 20, represent consumption function. C equal A plus C multiplied by 1 minus T by disposable income Y, where A autonomous consumption الاستهلاك التلقائي اللي هو مستقل عن الدخل. C المارجنال propensity to consume. C plus 1 minus C multiplied by 1 minus T المارجنال propensity to consume الميل الحدي للاستهلاك. Y represent disposable income. 21 equation 21 refers to M, which M imports، والimports هنا بيمثل MC expenditure on imported consumer goods and C total consumption. يعني M يا جماعة نسبة نسبة من التوتال consumption. هنعمل عملية تعويض ونحصل على الدخل income in this case equal 1 over 1 minus C over 1 minus T multiplied by minus T multiplied by 1 minus M, all multiplied by A multiplied 1 minus M plus I plus G plus E. Note that the first amount, which is 1 over 1 minus C multiplied by 1 minus T multiplied by 1 minus M, this is a marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to consume under this case is the least, has the least value compared to the other. It's a counterpart of the other cases. In this case we have leakages. Leakages represent in taxes and represent in imports. Also multiplicant also decreased by the effect of M small. The total increase in income by differentiating the function 22 delta y increase or change in y equal marginal propensity consume multiplied by delta g. Here marginal propensity to consume equal 1 over 1 minus C small multiplied by 1 minus T and 1 minus M. Comparison of equation 23 with our earlier equation 18 shows the multipliers have been reduced by import leakage. هنا يا جماعة في الحالة دي المultiplier نقص ليه؟ بسبب التسرب الناتج من الواردات. Thus it is more difficult for country with large trade involvement to engage in stabilization policy. لما يبقى في قطاع تجارة خارجية كبير ده بيدي صعوبة على الدولة اللي فيها هذا القطاع انها تنخرط في ممارسات تحاول اتباع سياسة التثبيت الاقتصادي. The size of multiplier is reduced and fiscal policy become less effective. يعني يا جماعة في نقطة هنا. Under this case, the effectiveness of fiscal policy reduced as a result of reduction in the size of multiplier. Moreover, country A's expansionary policy by raising imports also increase the export of trading partner B. كمان يا جماعة السياسة التوسعية للدولة ايه اللي هي بتستورد هتأثر على الدولة اللي بتصدرها اللي هنفترض انها الدولة B. As a result of demand for B's outputs is increased, the export of its trade and A's expansionary policy is transmitted to B. التأثير التوسعي للسياسة بتاعة الدولة A هيتنقل للدولة B. Similarly, restrictive action by A by reducing its imports and hence B's export would have restrictive effect in B. برضو يا جماعة لو الدولة A اتبعت إجراءات تقشفية وقللت وارداتها، التأثير ده هيتنقل للدولة B اللي هي بتصدرها. These effects may not suit B's policy intent, leading B to take countermeasure which in turn weakens the domestic effect. طبعا هيبقى في رد فعل من الدولة B تجاه هذه السياسات. Because of this interaction, it is difficult for countries with heavy trade involvement to single-handedly engage in effective stabilization policy. كل ما زاد قطاع التجارة الخارجية فسياسة التثبيت ان الدولة تتبع سياسة تثبيت فاعلة بيبقى امر صعب في هذه الحالة. Under flexible exchange rates, the results may differ. As we previously said, in a world of fixed exchange rates, expansionary policy thus results in rising imports and a deficit in a balance of payment. يا جماعة في ظل سياسة سعر الصرف الثابتة، السياسة التوسعية بتزود الواردات وده بيؤدي إلى عجز في الموازنة في الميزان المدفوعات ويضعف من ال effectiveness of fiscal policy. On the other hand, if exchange rates are flexible, such an outcome need not to occur. أما لو كان سعر الصرف مرن متغير فالنتيجة السابقة دي ممكن ما تحققش. Suppose that the USA import rise, the supply of dollars in the foreign exchange market rises and the value of the dollar in terms of foreign countries falls. As a result of this, the prices of import goods rise relative to those domestic goods and will thus check the rise import. Moreover, export will become cheaper to foreign buyers and will thus rise. يعني يا جماعة هنفترض ان الواردات الامريكية زادت من العالم الخارجي، في هذه الحالة عرض الدولار في اسواق الصرف الاجنبية العالمية هيزيد وبالتالي قيمته تنزل في مواجهة عملات الأجنبية الأخرى. ونتيجة لهذا فإن أسعار السلع المستوردة ترتفع قياسا بأسعار السلع المحلية وده هيقلل من الواردات الأمريكية من الخارج. مش كده بس، لا، ده نتيجة لانخفاض سعر الدولار أصبحت المنتجات الأمريكية أرخص فصادراتها تزيد وبالتالي العجز في الميزان التجاري وميزان المدفوعات يقل. ولكن bear in your mind that the net effects of this policy depend mainly on elasticities. يا جماعة بس نحط في اعتبارنا ان النتيجة بهذا السياق بتتوقف على elasticities of imported goods and elasticity of exported goods. ولكن يا جماعة في جميع الأحوال at any case under flexible exchange rate, fiscal policy remains has its significant factors. We reach to the end of our lecture. Thank you, students.